We're back, Dan, again.
We're
Let's
back.
go.
We took a little break. We couple weeks with no pod.
We're like a bad penny. We just keep turning up. You
We
know what I
do.
mean? But that's okay because every Tuesday night or so, I need myself an Appletini. I just do. So cheers, my friend.
Cheers, brother.
Thanks for coming back. I keep suckering you into coming back.
So we got to talk about where we were last. Was it last week? It's 2 weekends ago now, right? 2 weekends ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
we
we made it to Philadelphia.
we did. Unfortunately, we couldn't go to Jim's for the steak that I owed you.
But we did go to a really good spot. That was a pretty good spot. I liked it. Not my favorite cheesesteak in the world, but
Right.
but it was still a really good cheesesteak. Yeah,
It was.
absolutely.
I want to go back and visit Haddonfield. That was a pretty cool little town.
It was a cool town. That's where our friend Colin's from.
Yep.
So we got to get back up. We got to get back up there around Christmas time would be nice because it looks like they do a pretty nice Christmas
Yeah.
decor and everything up there. A lot of cool events. That would be nice. I'd like that. So
So we should talk a little bit about what we were doing in Philly.
uh, you can introduce that, man, because it was a lot of fun.
Our first big guest that we had when we came back here in season 2 was Dan Bartolomeo. Is that right? Yep.
Yep.
And he threw a fundraiser, reality for charity, and it was a charity fundraiser with just I don't know what were there about 15, 20 people from Squid Game the Challenge.
Yep, and there were a couple from Survivor that were there as
Yep.
well. Reality. It was called the reality TV for charity,
Right.
and they
So it benefited the Wounded Warrior and Alex's Lemonade Stand, which is the one that they do at Rita's. So that's a good one.
Yep.
So
So they were raising money for those two charities. Fantastic event. I got to meet the winner.
you
Yeah,
did.
yeah. I don't think her husband was liking the fact that I was like, "Hey, you want to run away with me?" 4.5 million reasons to run away with me, Dan. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just. Oh no. I, I yeah. She had 4.5 million
Right.
reasons to say no. But it was a lot of fun. It was cool to see those people. The ones that seemed like they were the bad guys on the show, they were really nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking to him. It was a pleasure. Dash, he was a little handsy. Dash,
I think he was enjoying meeting you.
yes, he was a little handsy
You
though.
could be on television.
Yes, and I was like, yeah, I have been on television. But Dash was cool. He was cool. They were all really nice, and I had a good time. My sister went with us.
Yeah.
Haven't
You had a
hung out
blast.
with my sister in a long time, so it was kind of nice too.
You know what was not cool was what did our parking situation? It expired at like 9:11, and by 9:17 when we got to the car, we had a damn ticket. They were
We did.
on it in Philly.
We got there at 9:20, so it was 9:11 it expired. 9:18, 9:17 they wrote the ticket, and that's what the mark was on the ticket. And
Yeah.
then 9:20 when we walked to the car, we pulled. I was like, wow, that was
Don't
fast.
play in Philly. But you notice it was a cheap ticket. It was like $30. Because they know if they hit you with the hard ones, no one's coming back down there to drink.
Yeah, it was $36, which is kind of like paying for a parking garage.
Right.
So yeah, I'll pay it. Whatever. We missed it. We should have been. And the only reason we missed it is because we got hung up saying goodbye to people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have been outside on time.
If we would have Irish goodbye that shit, we'd have been good.
Damn. I should do
It's
that
the
more
way
often.
DeLuca.
It is. It is. All right. You know what? We need to start the show, my friend. So you know what
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
do? We got some really cool guests today, and I'm pretty psyched about it. So let's get to it and let's play that theme song. Jeremy.
Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Appletinis with Ken. Oh. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Oh. Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah.
It's been a while since we heard that. That's fun. It's a good theme. It's a good theme song.
Best part of the show.
It is.
By far.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yes. Thanks, Jamie Nash. It is by far the best part of Appletinis weekend. But don't check out, guys, because we do have some really cool guests, right?
We do. So these are guys that I've known for quite a while now. I want to say connected with them somewhere in like the 2017, 2018, somewhere around there, maybe even earlier than that. I've lost a little bit of track, but they've got a great podcast that's been running for 8 years, 9 years, I think, at this point. We'll get into that with them here in a little bit. It's called BlockBuster Mentality. We've got Ben Secord and Dave Quist, the hosts of BlockBuster Mentality. Welcome to the show, fellas.
There they are.
Jumping the gun, Dan.
I know.
It's all right.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Classic. Yes, thanks for having us.
I am so going to edit out that whole mess of an interview. No, I'm kidding. But welcome, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Editor verse. He's been told let the warts show.
Exactly. You gotta show the blemishes. That's no Photoshop. I'm sick.
Yeah. Otherwise, you edit every 10 seconds, and you get to the point where you're editing breaths, and then you have a mental breakdown and quit the podcast. That's what I did once.
That's funny, Dave, because I edit out all the ums and the breaths. And
Please don't do that.
I know.
For your mental health.
And on like the 100th one, I'm sitting there going, God, Dan, stop going up. No, I'm kidding, Dan. You don't. I do it more than you do it.
Oh, when I listen back to these things, I'm like, oh my God, get to the question, Franco. Jesus Christ. Stop stalling.
Biggest thing we have to edit out is my kids running in, which Dave is going to have to do soon.
Congratulations, Dave.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's just about 7 months. They say nothing can prepare you, and I read 2 books, and I was really trying to mentally visualize everything, and I still fail. I might as well just gone in completely cold. It wouldn't have been the same.
It's learn as you go, Dave. I'm just going to tell you, learn as you go. And if and this is your first child?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you have more, they're all different, so it changes. So you might think you've got it covered. Nah, probably
I believe
not.
it.
Yes, probably not. So
she's a blessing. It was a long road for her to get here, and it was anyways. But we're very thankful. So yes,
awesome.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thanks.
He loves the attention all on him.
I did. Shower me.
So I noticed Ben rolled up here in a Red Wings jersey.
Yep.
My team is currently
oh shit
fighting for his team, against his team for the last playoff spot. So
yeah, you guys, I think you guys are right there. Yeah, the Capitals I think have it right now currently.
We leapfrogged you last night. We won out in Calgary last night. So
yeah, Ovechkin got the 2 goals.
Woken up.
Hey, it's been it was a fun ride with the Red Wings, from the 90s into the 2000s. But yeah, we've been struggling these last 8-9 years, and looked like we were a lock for the playoffs, and now we're taking a dump, and it's not so fun now. I texted my dad and brother the other day. I said, "Is Detroit sports fun again?" And then they went on a 8-game losing streak or 7-game losing streak. So, that's what I get.
Wait, the Lions are fun now, though.
They are. They were a half away from the Super Bowl. Still sour about that. So you're bringing up great subjects for me that caused me a lot of pain and strife, but I really appreciate it.
We were rooting for them. That was that was a fun, for people that didn't have a team. Once the Ravens, people here know I'm Commanders, Redskins, whatever, and Ravens. Commanders weren't in the picture. Ravens got out early, and I was hoping for Detroit the rest of the way. So
yeah, I mean, our word.
I did. Yeah,
you can't say that, but
Ken doesn't like when I call them the Commanders.
The most fun I've had with the Lions, and it's probably my favorite team the Lions have ever had, even in the Stafford Megatron days. This is my favorite team, favorite coach. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see where they go.
Look, Ben, as a Philly fan, I kind of feel, for you, because it was many, many years before we won a Super Bowl. And in the past year, within the last 2 years, we lost the World Series, we lost the Super Bowl, and the Sixers were eliminated when they were supposed to take it all. So,
Yeah.
it's been a tough year and a half, 2 years for us in Philly too. So we just can't seem to pull the trigger and win the big game. But I was so glad to see the Lions make it to the Super Bowl. It's just amazing. So I mean, not the Lion. Yes, conference. I'm sorry, conference championship.
Yeah.
So
Next year.
Next year.
Oh, that was it. That was their shot. They're done. They're going back down to the basement.
No, I think they'll be fine. I like their coach. I really think their coach he's got a good attitude, and I like his approach. So I think they'll be right back in it.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about your podcast. You guys have, we've both been guests. I've been a multi-time guest. I've almost got the Tom Hanks jacket over there with you guys.
Right.
I think 1 or 2 more, and I get a special smoking jacket or something.
You get a jacket? I didn't even get a T-shirt. Jeez.
No, you have to come on at least that's like 30 times, and then you get you get the T-shirt.
Okay.
Then you
Okay.
move in, and then you get the jacket. The Dan's been I don't know how many times, but yeah, great. It always we connected. I think you connected with us on our Interstellar episode, which is still to me, I guess a controversial movie because a lot of people hate it, and I think the three of us love it. Although Ben, I think you had to get one over on that one. But yeah, ever since I've had you on, and probably one of my favorite episodes ever was the one Dan and I did on Top Gun Maverick. That was just an absolute joy.
We were gushing over Top Gun Maverick, and I still say it was my favorite movie of that year. What was it, 22? Mm-hmm. Yep. It ended at the top of my list.
Yeah, I think the actual first episode we did with you, I think that was Rear Window, and I think you were one of our first guests, if not, I mean, definitely our first actor guest, that's for sure. So I think that was 2016, 2017 ish. So
someone who's like a big shot.
Yeah, Mr.
So when did you guys start the podcast? How did it come about? When whose idea and what was and I know it's had a couple different iterations along the way. So how did it start?
It started late 2015 with me and my buddy Brandon. Actually, we just always talked movies, and we're always outside the theater talking about the movie afterwards, and we saw a bunch of people on YouTube and podcasts doing it. We were like, why don't we get a couple microphones and do it too? We love doing that, and we love hanging out with each other. It's an excuse to have a beer or two every but at that point it was like every week we were doing and then we did a show doing kind of like movie news, what movies were coming out, doing movie reviews, things like that, and then his schedule kind of got pretty hectic with his day job, and that's when Dave came in. Me and Dave we hadn't spoken, like we just, it was just one of those things. We were friends for a while, and then life happens. You kind of fall apart. And then Dave actually
we broke up. All right, let's just tell everybody.
We were on a break.
We were on a break.
And I was in limbo, with my buddy Vinny. Would come in for a couple episodes here and there, and then out of the blue, Dave texted me, and I think it was April 2017, and he just was like, "Hey, I just happened to come across your Twitter and saw you had a podcast. That's awesome. Good for you, man." And then I always remembered the conversations me and Dave had with conversations on movies, and I was like, "Oh, well, why don't you come on and let's talk a movie?" And he came on once and got addicted, and the rest is history.
It's a long freaking time. I mean, 2017, and it's crazy because it's like, I didn't know. I think our first episode was you had me just sort of guest on. It was Raging Bull, right? You had me pick
Raging Bull,
Bull, and that's like maybe my all-time number one in some ways, but top 5 probably. And I loved it. Yeah, and so, but it's been a long time, and this is we just kind of kept up with it. But the thing is like you kind of get burned out, but like you can never quite kick the habit, kind of a thing.
Right.
And so we're still going. I mean, we're here today, and I don't imagine I'll ever really stop.
Nice.
Even if I'm
Good.
just talking into a microphone by myself, I'd probably do it.
Because I'm always happy when I see that blue dot next to Blockbuster Mentality. Oh, there's a new one.
Well, that's what we love to hear. Yeah, I mean, we've had our breaks and our hiatuses, and even this last year, 2023, we didn't
Been
have.
tough.
Yeah,
It's
it
been a
was
challenge.
not many episodes, not many guests, but yeah, we still find a way back just because we love it so much, and yeah, we're trying to get back to incorporating guests and all that.
So yeah, let's talk about that. So you guys did for the first, big chunk of your podcast. It's just the two of you talking about whatever movie, reviews and ratings. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, they have the best rating system. It's a 2-tiered rating system of popcorns and stars. So it's quality and enjoyable, like movie theater enjoyability, I guess.
Got that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like that because, there are a lot of popcorn movies out there that I find really fantastic and entertaining, but not Oscar worthy. You know what I mean?
So how do you compare like Step Brothers to The Godfather? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You
exactly.
love them both,
Like,
but very different.
Yeah,
like Commando, like that's like
Commando,
100%
Commando.
popcorn, like, but I'm probably giving that 1.5
We
star.
did that one,
maybe.
didn't we?
That was
we
your
do
choice.
Commando?
Yeah.
That's
That's
right. You were
hilarious.
yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the ones I was
yeah.
going for.
That's
a great
that's
movie.
why it was in my subconscious. But yeah, it's that rating system is all Dave. So yeah, good.
Yeah, I do get credit for that.
Kudos.
Then you guys moved into bringing guests in, and you really started to. I mean, you've had some. I mean, his name just went straight out of my head, but the guy from Stingray from Cobra Kai, Paul Hauser, right?
Oh yeah, Paul Walter Hauser. Yeah, we did Dazed and Confused with him. Yeah, he's a Emmy winner now or Golden Globe winner, one of the two.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had him, had Joel
Our buddy Matt
McHale,
Walsh.
Matt Walsh.
Matt
Yep,
Walsh.
yeah, he was fun.
He was
He's got
snacking
a
on
Lego.
a
Sanchez. We're hoping to have him here soon. He's got a new podcast coming out. Not a podcast like this, but a scripted podcast, a fictional narrative. So.
And so the guest thing, it's weird because I guess different iterations. I mean, one constant is us, I guess. And so we would have guests come on. We'd have them pick a movie for them to come on, like a favorite of theirs to come on and chat. And that was really cool because it was a way. Our kind of idea is it's a way of. It's not an interview, but sort of, because you learn about the guests as they're talking about their film, and you learn, kind of a bit about them and their story, as opposed to just like asking them, interview questions. So it was really enjoyable because you really never knew what you were going to get.
Right.
There'd be a couple episodes where it'd be a little lame. I mean, we're not going to lie, but most of them, these people were really passionate about a particular film, and they would tell a story about when they first watched it, what it meant to them, and that was a great way to just really connect with them, and that's what I love the most.
And do you ever have, like, when someone picked a movie that you just saw what they picked, you're like, oh Christ, I didn't want to watch that. I have no interest, and you watch it and you loved it. Was there ever one of those, like, just this thing just hits you out of nowhere that this guy picked?
I know there is one. I'm going through our episodes right now actually to see.
Why are you thinking? I got one. Harold and Maude.
Oh, yep.
I forget who picked that one.
Dan Bacadol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Ben told me, okay, here I'm. I go, I'll kill myself. I don't want to watch this movie. I've never seen it. Like, I know it's about a young kid and an old woman. Like, I get it, whatever. And I could not believe how hilarious the movie is. I didn't know it was going to be that funny, and actually have a really good message to it. And that became kind of one of my favorite movies. It'd be on like a top list somewhere.
That's awesome.
That's one where I just had no. I'm like, please make him pick something else, anything but Harold and Maude. I don't want this movie. I kind of, it was great. So I love that, and I recommend it. And if you're listening and you have that thought about Harold and Maude and you haven't seen it, go watch it. I think you'll love it.
Well, that was a cool thing. Like you said, him talking about that movie, he was sharing all that stuff about like where he was in his life at the time that came out and what was going on with him. So it just showed that connection that he had to that movie, and so it turned out to be a great interview, in addition to a review of a great movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and it's also been nice, like even if it's like not like the biggest name too, like you're like, not that you always have to have like huge names and stuff, but like you like accept ones from publicists just to try to get on their good side, and like so they'll give you other people, and and you're like, yeah, we'll have them on, and then you end up like, wow, I'm so glad we did have them on because they're an awesome person, and so you get that excitement as well. It's like you weren't too excited about doing the interview at first, not necessarily anything personal or anything. It's just like, but then when you're
You
done, you're
just
like, oh
never
wow,
know.
I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah. And you guys could probably relate too, which is like the first 5 minutes, it's like watching a basketball game, right? Like it's where's this thing gonna go? And you have to like get over on them and to yourself to feel comfortable, and then it flows. But that first few minutes is always kind of dicey.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is. You are absolutely correct.
You're sitting there like, is this guy just going through the motions for the 25 minutes that his publicist promised us?
And I remember
Exactly.
some people just operated at a different speed, because I remember, Ben, I think it was Earl Skakel. We did 52 Pickup. It's just crazy 80s movie. I don't know if you guys know it or not, and he was just kind of slow, and we had to like get into his like way of thinking. And then once we locked on, it was like an amazing hour and a half. You just never know. I don't think we've had any disasters, Ben. Did we? I don't think.
Just when Dan Franco shows up.
Yeah, when Frank comes up.
Or until now, right?
Yeah.
Until today.
Yeah.
And now here's your disaster. Welcome
Yeah,
to Appletinis Weekend.
Right. What
That
I
was a
loved
good
is
thing.
when you guys had Dane Cook on, that dude was enjoying the comedy. He was into it. He was just like hanging out with you guys and talking, and he was just vibing it. And I could like looking at it on the list to hit play and go start my mowing or whatever, because I listen to podcasts when I mow. That's like my prime podcast time. And
What kind of mowing are we talking about, dude? No, all of a sudden, the podcast came to a halt.
But no, you sit there and you're like, oh well, Dane Cook, man, probably thought he was going to be one of those ones that might not be as engaged with you guys, and he was like right in it with you, and like I feel like you guys are probably hanging out drinking beers like twice a week now with that guy.
Yeah, he
honestly,
could have easily been a dick, and he wasn't. He was great.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like I could DM him and like he would totally answer her. Like I haven't done that or anything, but I feel like I could, and he would be open to come on again, or unless he's just an incredible actor and deserves an Oscar. I don't know, but that's the feeling I got. Yeah, definitely cool. But even not even when I'm talking about not bigger names, but talking to like people I kind of grew up with that aren't really big names now, like Henry Thomas from E.T. Like that was just like, no, he might not be a household name now, but like that was my childhood, and getting to talk with him, and even William Sadler.
He's awesome. He's great. I love him.
Getting to talk to him, like that's just like,
Yeah.
so yeah, the podcast has opened up opportunities to, hey, microphone, how are you? It's opened up opportunities to be able to talk to people who I've grew up watching. So it's pretty.
We
awesome.
see Henry Thomas at these horror cons all the time that we go to.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah?
We go to promote the Night Watchman and Comedy of Horrors, and now we're going up to Garden State this weekend, and
Nice.
they've got the Western is finally ready, the Road to Purgatory. I think we've talked to you about that in the past.
Yeah.
And it's a town called Purgatory.
Did I say Road to Purgatory?
Yeah, she did, which is a great film, but
Not the one we're doing.
That would be Road to Perdition. I mixed it. I
Yes,
put
Road to
it in the movie. You're
Purgatory.
welcome.
that's okay. But thank you. I said the lines were in the Super Bowl, so there you go.
Hey.
We each effed up, so there you have
Yeah,
it.
well,
all dream.
congrats.
We can all
We're looking
dream.
forward to that.
A
So
town
when
called Purgatory.
can we
so-
maybe have you guys? Well, if we can watch it, we'd love to be able to watch it and maybe talk to you guys if that's possible.
Well, let's do that. I can send you a link. So yeah, I can send you a screener. Absolutely, you guys can watch it, and then we can come on and yap about a town called Purgatory.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's
yeah.
if that's okay with you, Ben.
It's a terrible movie.
I'll allow it.
It's a terrible movie. Dan's.
I'm pissed off because it's the best one we've done, and I'm not in it.
Well, it was a budget thing, Dan.
Yeah.
It wasn't because we didn't want you in it.
No.
It's his day
It's,
rate.
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did they shot that one over in Austria, and it's a fantastic movie. I'm telling everybody that'll listen that when this thing finally does get out, go watch it because it's fantastic. So
Well,
really really happy with what they did over there.
So and Ben, dude, DM Dane Cook right now, and I want to know what he responds back. Come on, give me
You
something.
remember those? I don't know. I think we played that
Look,
hand a little too.
all right,
a little too far.
let's play this game. If you text him, I'll text John Bernthal, and we'll see who gets a response first.
Okay, yeah, we'll see you next week.
I'll do it. Hey, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
We had who did we have, Ben, that knows John Bernthal? That did
John
Do the Right Thing?
Polano.
Yeah,
Is that his
sure.
name?
Sure.
I think wasn't that one of the names you gave me, Dan? Or I could have swore it was, but maybe not.
He directed a movie, and because he was also a playwright, and it was Do the Right Thing. I'll check the feed, but that was an interesting film too. Kind of two minds on that one.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. I was talking about that earlier today with my daughter. She was like, "Dad, Do the Right Thing is a good movie." I was like, "Yeah, it is." Yeah, because
It's a good movie. Yeah.
we were talking about sneakers. We were talking about
I love that movie.
the Nike commercial that he did. Remember Mars Blackman? He was,
Oh yeah.
Gotta be that. It's got to be that Mountain Air.
Glasses, because he's like a Malcolm X kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were talking about him because of the shoes, because Wagner's playing in the tourney, and the point guard wears gold shoes, and I was like, it's got to be the shoes.
There you go. Yeah.
And then we went down that path of Nike, and I was like, you guys don't know that, right? My kids, I was like, you guys don't know that, do you? It's got to be the shoes. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay, here's the deal. Mars Blackman, blah, blah, blah. I told them the whole story, and then I said, Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing. Oh, my daughter saw it. She loves Do the Right Thing. So, yeah, it's cool. It's a cool, connect the dots. It's cool.
That movie's cool because in a way, it's not heavy-handed. It's not as heavy-handed as you would expect when you watch it. It actually plays things. It plays things fairly even, and then you can argue. The movie allows you to argue against its own premise, which I thought was pretty fascinating.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think for the time when it came out, it was the perfect movie to start that discussion, about all the things that were going on at the time. So,
yeah, because you could be like, "Oh, these guys are assholes," but also, and then he was justified doing what he did. But really, you're kind of if you're gonna like do violence, then now you've then undermined your like moral argument. Yeah. So, anyways.
Yes. But I think we should all do a show. We should all watch Do the Right Thing and then come back and do it.
Okay, we'll do it again.
We'll do it again, just to be refreshed on the whole movie.
Dane Cook and John Bernthal and
Yeah, we gotta invite them to
I also have Sam Rockwell's number, but I remember texting him one time after I texted him. I said, "Hey, we got a script. We think you'd be interested." He's like, "Send it to my agent." That was the text I got back. I was like, "Okay, never mind."
Wah, wah.
That was like the 10th time you sent that text that day.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the end of that conversation with Sam Rockwell.
It's like, and that burner phone cracked.
Yeah.
That was dead.
What were you in something with Sam Rockwell?
I was in a movie called Better Living Through Chemistry, and I did a few scenes with Sam. Bike crash scene, but I did a bunch of cool stuff. And that movie, Better Living Through Chemistry, if you haven't seen it yet, I actually think it's better than the credit that it got. So if you get an opportunity to see Better Living Through Chemistry, check it out. Sam Rockwell, Jane Fonda's in it, Ken Howard, Olivia Wilde, Michelle Monaghan.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I played Michelle Monaghan's boyfriend. It was great.
What's she like in real life?
Michelle Monaghan is amazing. Love her. Love her to death, and she's a lot of fun, and she's sweet, and she's amazing. Yeah, she was fantastic.
I think you know what I'm asking. Is it?
I don't know anything beyond that.
Oh, is she just hot? Is she hotter in real life than on screen?
Oh my God, yeah, she's beautiful. She's a beautiful.
Oh, she's one of my.
You saw Kiss
Yeah.
Kiss Bang Bang. You know the answer to that move.
Yes, she's absolutely beautiful to look at, and she's a beautiful person. So
great talent.
yeah, she was amazing.
I know we've shared a guest, Kevin L. Johnson. He's a cool guy.
Yep.
Yeah, we put
You
him
guys-
on loaner.
We had him on the live version of the show that we used to do, and then he was one of our first with the recorded podcast. So
He's still one of the most watched or listened to podcasts that we've ever done,
Oh.
Kevin. So yeah, which was kind of cool. You know, we're kind of new to the
Until now.
podcast. Yeah, we're kind of new to the podcast game, so we don't, you know, we're building our audience, so we're trying.
Now, Kevin
but-
came on
but-
twice, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah, he's
did-
been on twice. Yep.
I forget. I know we did Dog Day Afternoon, right? And then Serpico. Is
Yeah,
that right?
and then we did 2 Al Pacino movies. Yep.
Wow, Serpico's great. Well, Dog Day Afternoon is awesome too, but
Yeah.
Between the two, I'd say I like Dog Day Afternoon much. That.
all right,
was just wild for this time.
here's my Al Pacino question. What did you think of his presentation of the Oscar this year?
Non-existent.
Train wreck. Yeah,
here's
exactly.
Al Pacino with the nominee.
Oh my god,
Oppenheimer!
that's what my eyes see. Oh my god, it was great.
They
It always
say-
fascinates me
Oh.
where he went. You see him as an actor in like the Dog Day Afternoon days, to then morph into this caricature of himself. You know, with like the voice and his mannerisms and stuff, because he's so like small and like sort of sheepish when he's younger, and then and then he's like, it's a great ass. You know, like where did that guy come from?
And it's funny because he and De Niro are so attached, like so linked through history now together, and where he's just gone deep into this character that he plays, and De Niro's kind of fighting against that at every turn now, and trying to find new things. And but no.
Ken is spilling things.
The lid of my Appletini thing just popped off and flew across the room.
We always have Appletinis sound effects during the pod.
A little shaker, yeah.
There was one where we're like, yeah, we're trying not to drink as much in the during the week.
There's all that Michelle Monaghan talk.
Oh
Right.
my god, it was Michelle Monaghan talk. I gotta tell you, I've been able to work with some pretty hot chicks. So, can I say that? Is that
Yeah.
legal?
That
Yeah, how do you
still
not-
allowable.
How do you not
I mean,
avoid like the simping and the like? How do you compose yourself around like these
I don't know.
world-class beauties?
Julia Roberts smiled at me. Renee Zellweger asked about me, which was
Wow.
kind of bizarre.
Yeah, it's like, who's that creep?
Yeah. Well, you could say that. Yeah, I guess so.
Why is he looking at me?
Exactly. Why is he keep looking at me? So, could we have her
Well,
removed from set?
I've
Robin,
spoken to Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, Dee Dee Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
So
There you
know,
go.
Over Zoom.
Robin Wright looked at me like she wanted to punch me in the face. That was fun. So that was fun.
I can see that.
The House of Cards.
Yes, on House of Cards. But she was in the moment. I think it was because of the scene we were in. Because
Let's go with that.
yeah, we'll go with that. So
She looks tough. She got a tough look.
she does, but she's very nice in the makeup trailer. She was fantastic. She was very nice. So
Who's the hottest in person you've ever seen?
the hot Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I could.
You wanted-
I mean,
Come on, who's? Okay, so I've heard like okay, so I'll give you an example. Like Tina Fey, I've heard she's much more beautiful in person than on camera, which is whatever.
I
Is
don't
there
believe
anybody-
that. I believe she's much. I mean, I believe. Yeah, well, that's true. In L.A., I saw Helen Mirren.
She
in
struck
person.
you.
Oh my God! Like, I mean, like when you looked at her, you couldn't look away.
Yeah.
You were just like, holy crap, she's gorgeous. And obviously she's older, but still,
Yeah.
at that point in her career, when I saw her, she's phenomenal looking, amazing.
I
Yeah,
love that answer.
yeah.
That's a great
We
answer.
went up to New York and we saw for SAG for the for your consideration screenings. We saw the Ted Lasso finale, and the cast was there. Almost all the cast. And Hannah Waddingham is
Amazing.
phenomenal in person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Unbelievable.
say that. Yeah. Yeah, she
She's
seems
a
like
big
she would
woman though,
go-
right?
Yeah.
She is, but she's only 5'11" or whatever.
Oh,
but
okay.
comparatively speaking, she puts heels on. She's 6'2", and she's standing next to Sudeikis, and she's standing next to everybody
It's
else.
like Ray Lewis.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So she's gorgeous, and she's just big, which is it's amazing.
It's fine.
I
Throw you around a little bit.
I'm in love. That's all I guess. That's all I got.
And that's my answer until I meet Jennifer Garner.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't met Jennifer Garner yet. Oh my God, I would love to. So I got a question for you guys. All right. So you've been doing this podcast for quite some time now, and we like to do the positive vibe here on the show. And here's a question for you guys: what advice would you tell yourself if you guys could go back to your first episode? What would you tell yourselves to make it better, or look out for, or hey, watch out for this, but still press through? You know what I mean? What would you tell
Make
yourself?
them shorter. We had a problem for a while going a little too long, so definitely make them shorter.
I don't think we've solved
Especially
that.
initially. What was that?
I don't think we've solved that problem.
No, we still haven't solved it.
An hour and 40.
And hold on, Ben. What are you trying to tell us? Should we cut this short right now?
No. No, this format's perfect. Well, like we talk about, it'd be an hour and a half movie, and the episode's 3 hours long. What are we doing?
Oh,
Well, I
okay.
don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just it's more when it's just us two talking about a movie. Yeah, and when it's a guest, like I don't care how long it goes. Like it could go on forever, but obviously you want to respect their time. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
But I don't know, Dave. I mean, I'm sure there's.
I thought that was a great answer, though. Make them shorter, and I believe in that as a producer when I produce films, and so if I'm out and I'm producing a film, hour and a half, 90 minutes, man, boom, in and out.
Yeah.
It's an independent film. Let's move on, right? I don't want to have a 2.5 hour independent film. That's not necessary. Mm-mm.
No, and that's not just independent. And as someone who's watched a lot of movies in his life, I've just become everything is too bloated. It's just like when you're reading, it's any content. It's a tweet, it's an article, it's a blog post, it's anything. Shit is too long, and I've got limited attention. And if a movie's gonna be more than 2 hours, you really better justify that. You better be Lord of the Rings level epic to take 3 hours of my time.
And I'll tell you the one that killed me this year, Killers of the Flower Moon, killed me this year. I mean, not to say it wasn't a good movie. It was just too long.
That one didn't bother me.
It was 3 some hours long, and it was just too long. They could have
know
told
they
that
can
story.
do it.
Yeah.
They have no constraint, and then it makes it worse because you
No,
don't have that pressure on you to cut it.
Yeah.
That one didn't bother me the way like Power of the Dog did.
Oh yes, Power of the Dog. Ooh.
I was angry by the midpoint of that movie. Like, I was
Yeah,
hating
Again, it wasn't a bad movie. The acting was good. The story was good, but they could have made that movie in 2 hours, not 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They really
there's a
could've.
good long and then there's a bad long. Like some, 90-minute movies feel like 3 hours. Some 3-hour movies feel like 90 minutes. But there are some really good 3-hour movies that you feel the length on. Even Blade Runner 2049 comes to mind. Like I love that movie. I think it was outstanding. But I felt the length on that. I think it was like 2 hour 45-minute runtime or something.
What about
with you when we talked Endgame, and that one that thing had like kinetic energy through it. You just never felt like you were like at a lull that was leading up to the next thing. It just kept moving, and that when they do that, it wins me over. I'm good.
What about Dr. Zhivago?
That's one I have to say I've never seen it.
Okay. So, Ben, here's what we do. A friend of ours is going to be screening it at AFI coming up.
Okay.
Right? So what you need to do is you need to come up. We'll all go to AFI. We'll go see this, right? There is an actual intermission in the film.
How far are you, Ben, from them?
Yeah, it's not that far.
Where is AFI?
AFI is in Silver Spring, just outside of DC. It's DC. So DC.
Oh, okay, so it would be about an hour and a half for me.
Yeah.
Well,
Do it.
Yeah.
Go do it. You get to go to the AFI place nearby, go.
Yes.
Okay,
And
Dave
we
says go. I'm going.
and we can
Go.
all go. We can watch Dr. Zhivago the way it was meant to be, 70 millimeter, boom on the big screen, and there is an intermission, and it's a phenomenal film. I mean, the cinematography alone will blow you away. You know, just be like, it's amazing. So, but yeah. I think you should come up, man. Let's do it. We should do that all the time. To be honest, you should come up and we should just go to AFI and just watch stuff.
I'm down. Yeah.
Is your wife gonna let you go?
Yes, for this. Yes. All right.
Yeah,
But yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm down. Yeah, just let me. Do you know when exactly it is?
I will get you that information. I'll let you know.
go.
So,
Please go.
I just
will,
saw
Dave,
that
please.
last week that Dune 2 is going to be in 70 millimeter, and I'm not going to be able to get to one of those theaters before it goes away.
Have you seen it yet, or are you holding out?
I haven't seen it yet. Trying to get the folks in the house to rewatch one.
Me too.
Tough sell for the wife, right? They're not in it. It's totally a guy thing. It's an adult male thing. I you know, we know we've talked about this. I'm a huge Star Wars guy, and so for me, the David Lynch version that came out in the 80s just lost me. It was so out there, and I was looking for Tatooine and speeders, and I got worms and high concept, and I just shut down. Like, and what was her name? Linda, or whatever, the little weird woman that had the weird voice. Yeah. It's funny because we were talking about this, and you may be avoiding that episode because we just did a Dune 2 review because you don't want to spoil yourself. But we talked a little bit about how Lucas kind of borrowed from, it's the sand planet, and he kind of made like a populist version of Dune in some ways. And so, yeah, that's interesting. I agree. I saw the Lynch version a long time ago, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I watched, and what is this? And it was clearly incomprehensible. So for Denis Villeneuve to be able to take all those ideas, and he left some stuff out, but to make it what it was, I think is an incredible accomplishment. And so we both loved we love both movies.
Cool. Yeah, sometimes I gotta, a lot of times I have to hold off on your shows till I see it. So,
what do you guys think of his, being actors? Denis Villeneuve's comment about dialogue is for television and movies are for visuals. Do you see that comment?
I totally agree with that, to be honest. Yes. I do believe dialogue is for television. You look at shows like West Wing. You look at shows like Scrubs. You look at shows, what was the one with Newsroom, right? Yeah. I mean, those shows are dialogue, man. It's just dialogue, right? You get into the feature film, it's about showing. It's about the cinematography. It's about, because it's on the big screen. It's about, it's not on the little box. So I kind of agree with that. But does it mean that you can't break that rule? Yeah. I mean, you can break that rule all day long. Yeah. You can have a great movie that's dialogue heavy. Absolutely. Or you could have a great television series that's mostly visuals. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely, totally saw what he was saying too, especially with TV. Like, you can do so much with stories, and, you can take your time with it because there's so many episodes. And so, yeah, I can definitely see, what he means by that. Not to say that dialogue isn't important. You still need it to kind of know what's going on in places, but I definitely,
even like in Dune, he takes a pretty minimalist view of dialogue. I mean, he only tells you what's like most important stripped down. I mean, he leaves a lot of the lore out. But like, Ben, we probably think of 2001. That's not a movie you can't, I mean, other than Dave, I can't do that, Dave. For the most part, there's no dialogue that's all that noteworthy, and that's one of the best movies ever made, maybe the best movie ever made, and it's almost 90% just pure visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Which had a what did we go to the 50th anniversary in IMAX? That also had an intermission when we saw it.
That was the Christopher Nolan overseen 4K restoration, if I'm not mistaken, and it was glorious to experience.
Have you guys seen the movie Zissou yet?
No, I haven't. I know what it is, but I haven't seen it. I've heard great things about it, but
Watch
seen
that movie. Watch that movie, and the dialogue thing comes into play.
it. Okay.
Big time.
Yeah.
When you watch it, you're just like, okay, there's not a lot of that, but you know exactly what's going on. You know who the bad guys are. I mean, it's a popcorn movie. I'll tell you that.
Is it in English?
Yes,
Oh, it is. Okay.
absolutely. It's in English, and I mean, I put the subtitles on because they all have accents. So
Yeah.
and different accents. So you got to kind of.
My wife and I, we watched Dune before seeing Dune 2. Like, we rewatched the first one, and like I had to watch it on subtitles just so I knew the names and like what exactly was going on, because they'll throw these different names at you, and I'm just like, I don't know what that means. So yeah, I'm a subtitle guy as it is.
I am
And
serious.
then, real quick, back to what advice you would give your past self. It's not really advice I give my past self. It's advice I give like newcomers. Is do it because you love it, not because you think you're gonna get views and hits. Like, do it because you enjoy it. Do it because it's a hobby. Because it's again, just do it because you love it. Because if we were looking for views and recognition and all that, we would have quit years and years ago. So,
This is not a business.
yes.
Where we're gonna quit our
I still
jobs.
have my day job.
So, Dan, I just want to tell you, we're shutting this down tomorrow. No.
Oh shit! There you go.
All
One
right,
thing I
we're
would
done.
say too is have okay. So what we did is basically wrong. The evolution of our podcast is completely not the way you should do it. Which is we've had one name and many different iterations of the thing, and don't do that.
Right.
So if I was to go back to the very first episode, I would say let's quit and reboot to something that's hyper specific and hyper niche and very clear about whenever someone sees the name of your podcast, they know what they're going to get when they listen. And so not to shit on our own podcast, but it's not. It's so that would be my dial that in if you could before, even if it takes some tinkering. If you have to do a few iterations, in other words, movies in 10 minutes, right? I'm just throwing that out there. God, we should have fucking done that. But like, if you see a podcast that's called Movies in 10 Minutes, what am I gonna get? I'm gonna get a movie review in 10 minutes, right? Bam. When you pull up BlockBuster Mentality, you don't really know what you're going to get, which in our case has been a lot of different variations. So that would be the best advice I could give.
Well, I'm glad you guys didn't change the name, because that's how I found you. Because our friend Jamie Nash, who's a writer, he has a podcast called Writers Blockbuster, and I was looking for his podcast, and I found
I've
your
seen
podcast.
those scoundrels. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I came across you guys. So I'm glad you didn't change the name back then.
Another idea is so we've kind of shoehorned the concept to be, well, what if our show is sort of like, well, if you're out there and you're like familiar with the Blockbuster store,
Yes.
you go out, you pull something out of the shelf and you watch it. And our show is sort of like, here's our like random selection out of the great drama section. So it'll be just someone's pick basically, and us talking about it.
Yeah, because I mean, when we originally came up with the name, it had nothing to do with Blockbuster, the video store. That's become our logo and kind of the recognition part of it. But and I looked it up. There's no copyright issues or anything like that. So we're
Fair
good.
use, right?
Gonna get sued by the one guy who's still an employee, a technical employee of the Blockbuster Corporation.
Bend, Oregon. So yeah, but yeah. Do it because you love it, and find your niche. And we still are finding it. But hey, we got to talk.
I would love
cool
to do
people.
YouTube, Ben. I would like to do some live streaming. That's something we've never done.
I think you guys would be amazing doing live streaming, to be honest. Yeah, I would most certainly, if I was on and I saw you guys pop up, I would definitely click in and watch. Yeah.
We'd have to get
absolutely.
regular with it. We'd have to get a little clickbaity with the titles.
Yep. And
I would like to try. I just don't know. We'd have to be right. That's the thing. Our problem is we cannot fucking commit to a regular schedule like within the last like 3-4 years.
here's the deal too, guys. Like I don't know what program you use or whatever, but the program that we're using, the Ecamm, you can stream to 10 different places at one time. So you could do YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, but you've got to be smart about how you do it, because Instagram is one format and YouTube and Facebook are another format, and you have to figure out which one you want to do. Do you want to do vertical? You want to do horizontal? All those.
See,
yeah. But I think you guys would be amazing in a live show. Fantastic. Yeah, I would tune in. If I saw that pop up on Facebook, bam, I'm in immediately.
What do you think,
I'm
Ben?
watching.
We'll take this aside. We'll circle back.
It's like,
And here's another thing. I can remote produce it as well from where I'm at.
Ooh, now we're talking. Okay.
So that's part of what Ecamm does. Now, I'd have to learn a little bit more about that, but I know it's possible. Like, I can produce it from where I am. You guys do your show, and I'm just switching back and forth and doing different scenes and doing whatever for you guys as we go along. So, yeah, that might be something we could talk about moving forward.
yeah, we'll be under the.
Everyone's
Ken
listening
Arnold.
to our brainstorm and
Right,
our,
right.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic stuff.
I love it.
So
That's awesome.
So Ben, I saw, and it's funny because your duo and our duo are kind of in the same boat. We have one person who's really into the awards season and one person who's not so much into the awards season.
Yep.
Yeah. So I saw you popping the champagne as I was drinking my champagne the other night for the Oscars. So cheers, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's I always say it's my Super Bowl. It's which I also love the football Super Bowl, but
Right.
it's my movie Super Bowl. And
That's what a
I
Detroit
don't know,
Lions
yeah,
fan would say.
So
yeah,
what
exactly?
this past cycle, this past 23 awards cycle, what were the movies that you guys were bigger on and not as high on as everyone else?
I mean, it's it sounds boring, but both of our number one was Oppenheimer. I mean, we both
Okay.
really
Fantastic.
that.
Fantastic movie.
but a boring answer, I know, but I mean, other ones though. I mean, The Holdovers. I mean, that was outstanding. Paul Giamatti. Like, I'm really glad Cillian Murphy won, but I would have loved to have seen Giamatti win.
Yeah,
even if
that's
it
our
was
boy.
yeah.
I put my SAG vote for Giamatti, and it was tight because I was torn between him and Jeffrey Wright, because I felt like the work that he did on American Fiction was so simple and so beautiful and subtle. Like him and Giamatti were very just. I mean, and Cillian Murphy too. Everything was so, when you get actors like that, like what you were saying earlier, you don't need dialogue because they say everything with their face and their eyes and their just, they think it and you see it and and you don't even have to have the words. The words are extra.
Yeah, I think
Paul
for
Giamatti's
American-
case, the lazy eye. But go ahead.
Yes. I'm thinking about both those two movies, American Fiction and The Holdovers, and I think the leads. I think really Jeffrey Wright and Paul Giamatti really carried those movies, and not to say that the other performances weren't okay, but they were really the focal for me for both. And I don't think American Fiction by itself, it's a really great concept, but without Jeffrey Wright, I think it's a kind of a crappy movie, to be honest. But I loved him, and basically I only watched it because of him. And I was
Well, I love Sterling K. Brown too. I thought he was great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was because he's like he plays this like falling apart. You don't expect him to be as reckless of a character as he is. Yeah.
Like the polar opposite of his dude from This Is Us.
I know. He's snorting
extreme
coke in the
polar end.
morning, and yeah, I know. But yeah, those were So Paul Giamatti, he's my boy. I mean, I think I said this to Ben when we were doing our show. I realized he's my favorite living actor while watching that movie, which is just. I will just watch anything he's in, and I have. I literally have. And it's a Paul Giamatti thing. I'm going to watch it. That's just it. Yeah.
Nice.
The one thing I will say is because your original question, Dan, the one movie I did not like, which it seems like everyone does, is Poor Things. I did not like the movie. I really, honestly,
It was
Emma
terrible,
Stone's a
dude.
I didn't like it, and I'm not seeing Emma Stone really as best actress for that either.
Me neither.
She got one thing going that she kind of caught, and that was it. And so I'm not a fan.
Am I going to be
I like
canceled?
I like
Canceled?
performance. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Am I going to be canceled if I say that I didn't like Poor Things? Because it was wackadoo. Let me tell you something. There were some cool things about it. The set dress, the costumes, the cinematography, great. Her performance, the story, it was all over the place.
My favorite was seeing. I've never really seen Mark Ruffalo like that. I really enjoyed seeing him in that kind of role. I've never, because usually he's more straight and just kind of, he's like the straight man.
Yeah.
And in this, he was more flamboyant and out there. It was cool seeing. But yeah, no, I can totally see.
Or he's like
You're
a
not gonna
super
get
emotional man. He wasn't like in the way that he did it in this one. He was more like a simp. But yeah, I'm not an Lanthimos fan, to be quite honest. I didn't like The Favorite. I didn't like The Lobster. I'm kind of over this guy. Stop with the fisheye lens every 5 minutes. It's like, come on, man. I thought we're supposed to make fun of directors who do this by this point, and we're celebrating it now. I don't get it.
Well, and like the fisheye through that whole movie kept making you wonder who's looking through the peephole.
Yeah.
Like, I was waiting for a payoff on that never came.
Never came. Never.
And it's one of those things. I respect it. I respect that someone can look at this story and create a world that is so far beyond what I could ever conceive. But I didn't enjoy watching it. I enjoyed her performance. I voted for Lily Gladstone, but I wasn't upset. I thought she had an arc that carried through. She had objectives that she I felt she did a great job. I voted a different way, but fine. I wasn't mad at that, but the movie I was kind of mad at.
Yeah.
But yeah, being an Oscar fan and an awards fan, yeah, that was one of the most jaw-dropping wins. Like, because it was just Gladstone was sweeping everything.
She was great. Yeah, she was great.
Yeah,
she won the SAG award. I think a lot of people said that she was put in the wrong, and we've had a lot of that lately, put in the wrong category. That she should have. Leo was the lead. She was the supporting, along with De Niro, and she probably should have been in the supporting category.
But
that was tough.
But the woman from Holdovers was fantastic.
Yeah.
She deserved that.
Yeah, she does.
I think Lily was a lead, and she should have won. She should have won.
She was the most leading female, I guess.
Yeah, in that movie, she should have won. Absolutely. Emma Stone, and I hate to go in this direction with that movie, but it was kind of creepy.
It was.
It was. Think about that.
It was.
And we could have a conversation probably for 3 hours about this, but her brain was that of a child.
Right.
And people
And so
people were taking advantage of her in that sense, and that really creeped me out. I was not comfortable with that whole concept in the movie.
Yeah, so
I really wasn't.
What's the movie telling me that because there's a clear, female being, I don't want to say taken advantage of by men. But if you don't have Asian, so what are we saying? That is it underage women who are being I don't know what, because she grew up. That whole baby stage didn't last all that long.
But it was still there, and weird things were happening, and that's, to me, was a little bit strange. It was a little strange.
It was strange.
Yeah.
But it was also but the movie itself. I mean, what is going on with the burp bubble and the whole I was experimented on when I was a baby. I don't know what's going on with any of this.
I think the first burp bubble about 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
That's where I watched my wife check out. Right there. And
we're done.
Yeah. That's enough.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
How do you explain that
uh,
narratively in any way? He burped and it was a bubble. What do you want from me? I don't know.
I mean, is this a credit to the movie that we're talking this much about it? I mean,
I think it is a credit to the movie.
I wouldn't talk about it if it wasn't so highly praised. I would have moved on quickly. For me.
There were some cool concepts in the film. Don't get me wrong. It had a lot of Alice in Wonderland. It had a lot of Wizard of Oz. It had, there were elements that you could tie into really fantastic, iconic movies. So, yeah. But overall, for me, Poor Things was just that poor. Yeah. In the end. So.
One thing I'll say that I liked about 2023 was we talked about this a little bit on our show. I got really tired of the Oscars picking movies that nobody saw. And I guess my own personal taste has evolved over the years from being more of a snob to a populist. 'Cause I'll tell you, like something like the movie Gran Turismo. It's on Netflix, released by Sony.
It was
That's one of my
great.
favorite movies of the year. I love it. I love
It
it.
was great.
mean,
I love that.
yeah. And yes, there you go, kid. So, it's just effective. And so it used to be back in the 60s, 70s, 80s that movies that were nominated and won Best Picture were movies that people also saw. They were hits, and we kind of got away from that over the years, particularly I think since the Weinstein era,
Yeah.
all that. And so to see a movie like Oppenheimer, which made almost $1 billion, to see a movie like Barbie, which made over $1 billion, to get that kind of recognition, to see that kind of, and which we love Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve for this whole thing, which is the combination of critically acclaimed and popular, that kind of thing coming together. It was good to see this year, seeing some popular movies get nominated. I think that's important. And it gets people engaged, because if 5 people see a movie, I'll just say good art is, if it's not accessible to not everyone but most people, it's not good art. So yeah,
Nice.
that's my
I love
soapbox.
That was your soapbox. I love it. I'm gonna go at Barbie right now. Right? Dan sits back. Dan's like, oh shit, right?
There's a lot of times on this podcast where Dan moves away from the mic.
Microphone, because he's afraid. He doesn't want to get canceled. But I don't give a shit. So here's the deal.
Hey, I got energy, man. I'm.
Here's the deal.
I love Barbie. I loved it.
And here's where their rating system comes into play. Here's where their rating system comes into play. Popcorn movie. I like Barbie. I thought it was an entertaining movie. I did not dislike Barbie. That's where people get me wrong. I just don't feel like it was Oscar worthy. I really don't. There were certain things about it that could have been Oscar worthy, like the set design, the costumes, and things like that. But performance-wise, nah. It was almost like LA Story for me. I did not like, La La Land, not LA Story, La La Land with Ryan Gosling as well. I didn't like that movie. I really didn't.
I'm 100% in agreement with you on Barbie. I'm in 100% disagreement with you on La La Land.
Okay, fair enough.
La La Land is like one of my favorites of all time. But Barbie. Yeah, it was a fun summer.
I agree.
Was it an Oscar-worthy movie? I do not believe so. Pretty, like you said, production design, costume, all that. Yes, that kind of stuff. Absolutely. But yeah, I did not see it as a Oscar-worthy film. So I'm 100%.
I think there are a lot of people who went to that movie and felt that they saw their story in it, and so I think it did a good job of capturing people and their, not me necessarily, but the audience I was in gave it a standing ovation. That was like 4 weeks into the run, and it was still really grabbing people. So I think it did something that a popcorn movie, a just popcorn movie, doesn't normally do.
So I was in a theater in Wisconsin, and me and my son were the only 2 men in the whole theater. And we were both named Ken. So
oh yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean? And it was great because everybody in that theater had a great energy. They didn't give it a standing ovation, but they were cheering throughout. That doesn't happen in a movie that often. But again, I thought it was a good theater experience. I thought it was, was it a phenomenal experience? Nah. Nah.
Yeah, that's I know where I sit.
And I totally get where, women are going to dig it. I'm in a theater full of women. Obviously, they're going to love it. And I'm just going to be Ken. Period. That's going to be me.
I was just thinking about this just yesterday, which is, I think the movie's largely already almost been forgotten. By the time it was a massive meme, huge hit, and I know it resonated with a lot of people, but I think it's highly disposable, like memes are. By the time we got to the Oscars, I think people even forgot what the hell the song was even for. And I think if you're going to ask someone 5 years from now, particularly if you're going to say which movie between Oppenheimer and Barbie is going to endure, it's not even going to be close. People are going to be watching Oppenheimer probably forever. And then Barbie will just be this like fun thing that people will check out. Not to discount what it is and what it did at the time. I just think it was a little bit short-lived in terms of its shelf life.
And now everyone hates us, including Dan.
Dan hates us too. Look, I live with women. They're surround me all day, every day. I got 3 daughters and my wife.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, they are absolutely. They're terrible women.
Jesus Christ.
Very entertaining movie, Barbie. I did not dislike it. I didn't. I liked it. It's just I don't think it was award worthy, other than certain categories.
Agreed.
But I think we can all agree.
Hey, Dan, what was your best picture, Dan? Sorry.
Yeah,
My
for
best
the year.
picture, I put Holdovers. So I went Holdovers, American Fiction, Oppenheimer. I loved all 3 of those. I enjoyed watching the other 2 a little bit more. I thought Oppenheimer was a fantastic movie. I didn't enjoy the watching experience quite as much as I enjoyed the other 2.
Yeah.
So, but we're talking A+, A+, or A+, A+. All there's such a fine it's hard. Like, and we've talked about that, like picking a favorite movie. Like, there's so many that you love.
I got like 10 different criteria if you ask me that question.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel I knew I think he deservedly won Robert Downey Jr. But each award show I felt kind of bad for my boy De Niro just because they have the same first name. So every time they said Robert, I feel like he jumped a little, and I was like, oh, poor guy.
You figure. And De Niro's done so much cool stuff, like the Meet the Parents movies. Most of them, are really great. They kind of declined as they went, but the first one was such a departure for him. Analyze that, but he's just constantly doing great work. And this is probably one of the. This was a great villain. This was, he almost played it. We weren't sure he was the villain until you were sure. So I thought it was great for him, but I'm thrilled for Downey. I've been the one that I know everyone jumped on Chaplin early on. It was Hearts and Souls. Do you remember that movie where he's getting he's a baby being born in a hospital when a bus crashes and like Grodin and Kira Sedgwick and a whole bunch of 4 people die on a bus, and they basically all possess this little baby, and so he grows up with them all kind of attached to him. And it was a really
I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
That was the movie that was just like, this guy is. I mean, I knew him from Weird Science and all the movies he'd done before, but I was like, he's really freaking good.
And what people forget, he's an SNL cast member. He's the first SNL cast member to ever win I don't know if it's an acting Oscar. I'm pretty sure it's Oscar.
Okay.
Little blurb I saw. So fun factoid.
Fun fact. I love fun facts.
Yes, that's like Billie Eilish has won more Oscars than Martin Scorsese.
Go figure, right? Go figure.
Yeah. Hit the spot and jump off it.
And both of those songs were fantastic too.
They were great.
Yeah, but it's like, come on now. I think I don't think Kubrick ever won an Oscar either. So I don't know.
Kobe Bryant more Oscars than R.I.P. Kobe Bryant more Oscars than Kubrick.
I would have liked to have seen, and I know they would never have done it, but I felt like the character arc that he played in Endgame, I felt like Downey deserved to be in the nomination, at least the nomination, not the award, but it was worthy, I thought. Just me.
I mean, it's hard to pick a movie, but if there's an award for an arc, if there's an award for a character arc, definitely. It's just the cultural impact, and it, not even. Yeah, I would agree. There could be something there to be said. Yeah, I think there is something there. Yeah.
Fellas, we didn't take your advice. We went really long tonight, so. You guys, I know you guys are breaking now. Your current thing is Flopbusters and talking about some movies that didn't do well at the box office that should have. So people should check those out. Where can people find you?
Wait a minute. Wait a second. I heard the first one was The Night Watchman for that episode, the flop bust. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, actually, I mean,
Oh no.
oh.
I'm kidding.
If we
just
would have gone to theaters in more than just Malaysia, we probably would have had a better box office.
Yes, most certainly. But we're a hit in Malaysia. We're a hit. We can't even get off the plane to Malaysia. It's like the Beatles.
Man, good for you guys. Good for
It
you
is.
guys.
It is.
Don't go to
But yeah,
Malaysia.
Dave had an idea to do. Yeah, he came over. He like texted me one day, "BlockBuster Mentality," and I was like, "Go on." But yeah, he came up with the idea. Yeah, to kind of talk about these films that they had hype around them, or and for one reason or another, where they didn't do very well at the box office. So we decided to kind of go into those movies, even if they're good, if they are bad, talk about it and why they might have flopped. But yeah, you can find us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Blockbuster Cast, Instagram at Blockbuster Mentality. That's where you get all the updates on the show. We're going to try to get more guests on. I know, we definitely need you guys on. And yeah, Dave, where can they find you on X?
On Twitter, you can find me at Dave_Quist. And hit us up. Let us know what you think. And we're trying on episodes. We're trying to get better. I don't know. A little bit, Ken. I have to say, maybe we're going to talk, Ben. We'll talk off air together. But about maybe live streaming, just give it a shot at it, see what happens. I don't know. Maybe our problem is we're late. We're very lazy individuals, and unless someone's telling us what to do, when to do it, and so maybe the pressure of a live stream will get us kind of moving a little bit. So we'll see. That's kind of where my head is at. So we're on the 18th iteration of the show. We'll be back here next year.
We've found that the live stream, even though we get a lot of the same people, but they're always there. They're always there every time. So yeah, that could be something that's kind of it's kind of cool. So, but think about it. But I just want to say thanks, guys, and I'll let Dan wrap it up. But thank you so much for coming on, man. You guys are fantastic.
Anytime.
And it's always great hanging out with you guys, and we're gonna ask you to take us to kick it to our world famous theme song here and close the show.
Well, I just love this song so much. It's so great to listen, to thrive, to emulate, to pursue, and it.
We're still going. You're still going.
We're still going.
I'm just thinking hey, we're out of here. Thank you for listening so much. We're playing this song. It's amazing. We've been talking for God knows how long. They told us it was only going to be a half hour. Now it's an hour. I've been just sitting here. I got like cans of alcohol I've been drinking because they said it was a half hour, but I planned against it, and I guess I was right. So I'm just drinking.
And I'm 100% sure. I'm 100% sure we all have to pee. Right about now, I'm 100% sure.
I'm urinating as I speak.
And
please
to
enjoy
my
this song.
Family,
I
I want to thank the Academy. And, thank
Play 'em out.
you,
Play 'em out.
All right.
and thank you for listening to Appletinis with Ken and Dan, the podcast.
Woo! Thanks, guys.
Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah, Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Oh. Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah.